Welcome back to Forever United TV. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you all had a decent day. I'm bringing you all up to date with everything going on around Manchester United. Emergency calls. No, not quite, but is bringing Michael Carrick in a bit of an emergency, desperate move from Manchester United? That's the question I'm asking tonight. I'm going to get into reports that came out earlier on from TalkSport and then even later in the last hour from Samuel Luckhurst on that side of things as well. Also bringing you pieces from Chris Wheeler's latest article as well, where he talks about Kobbie Mainoo, the chance of Gareth Southgate signing for Manchester United as well as a new manager, all of that stuff in there. Interesting quotes from Kobbie Mainoo as well there. And more talk of faith being put still in Ruben Amorim. I just did a big up show talking about Ruben Amorim's interview that he's just done also. We'll touch on that and we'll get into it and we'll go through the quotes there. Quite scary, to be honest. In my opinion alone, I think that really did worry me. We'll let you know what's been said in that as well if you haven't seen it already. Get your live chats in, everybody. Don't forget, we are running a full schedule tonight. We're doing this show right now. Then we're going to get across to Football Talks and cover all of the tonight's Champions League football action as well. So do come across and join us there. We are running Match Bingo last day of the month, everybody. But I've got an announcement on Match Bingo right at the end of this show. So stay tuned for that as well. Right, let's get into what is going on with Manchester United then and getting you up to date before we head into all of tonight's football. Manchester United looking at the obvious, which we know, candidates, possible suitors to take over Ruben Amorim if he is sacked by Manchester United. Fair enough. The interview that he did earlier on was concerning, like I said. We'll get into that, but I think everybody's looking into everything, reading between the lines at the moment. An interesting piece came out from Adam Crafton from The Athletic, which sort of rings true. And I always use The Athletic, and I did this before as well. I always use The Athletic as the guide to how serious the matter actually is. And Crafton is always very, very cautious in his opinions. I've spoken to him a few times. He's not one to jump right in and sensationalise a headline or anything like that. But this, before we get into the Carrick news, is what Adam Crafton said on the future of Ruben Amorim. When you get to these times as a journalist, you're talking to a lot of people to get a sense of where the club is at. From some of the people I'm speaking to, I think the first rumblings of a cycle we've become so familiar with are starting. Does it mean that Amorim is going to be fired immediately? No. There are people starting to think that might happen next. So, when you've got someone like Adam Crafton, Laurie Whitwell, both talking on the same show, by the way, the Talk of the Devils on The Athletic, this is where you start to gauge when they start talking to people in and around Manchester United. And you'll remember, obviously, David Ornstein as well has got his ties and he's in at Manchester United. He's the one that broke the news about Garnacho being told to do one by Ruben Amorim, of course. So they know what's going on at Manchester United and they'll have their own sources and contacts within the football club, I'm sure. And they start to do the groundwork. They start to ask the questions. They start to get the feelers out and see how the lie of the land is as such around the football club. And what Adam Crafton says there is that's the familiar rumblings of a cycle we've become very, very used to. That there, I think, is key to this. And everything that I've listened to, everything I've read, everything I've watched has all led me to think that he needs a win against Sunderland, and that's the only thing that's going to give him any opportunity whatsoever to defend his case even more, even after the interview that he did with Owen Hargreaves as well. But the reports coming out earlier on was saying that Michael Carrick would be an option and would be open to taking the Manchester United job on an interim basis. Yes, interim basis again, if Manchester United came calling. Who wouldn't? We talked this morning about Oliver Glasner saying he would drop Crystal Palace instantly for Manchester United if they asked him to go there. So, again, like Michael Carrick, out of work, wouldn't cost United a lot this season. Either, is that the way to go? A lot of people have disagreed on that already on this show alone over the last few days when we've been discussing Ruben's future. They want a permanent deal. They want United to go out and be United. A big club going out and getting a manager that they want. It's fair enough. But Manchester United right now, again, and this has brought up the same conversation from the other day about not being prepared and overly backing Ruben Amorim and his system and what's going on at the football club. This has caused this where we're at now, and they don't want to be going out and bringing somebody in, I don't think, mid-season. I don't think they do. And there are more and more talks going around that Manchester United would actually look towards an interim manager. Samuel Luckhurst again, and now of the Sun and not the MEN. Still feels weird saying that, but he has come out this afternoon and said exactly the same thing, which is that United would look to potentially bring in an interim to steady the ship if AMORIM is sacked. So what are they doing right now? TalkSport are saying the net has been cast and they're looking for potential suitors to come in to replace AMORIM. Are they going to be looking at just interims or permanent managers? I'm seeing people retweet stories from what Romano has put out regarding Xavi at the moment, and that story is still not going away. Obviously, we've got the Glasner one from Ben Jacobs this morning also. And then we get into the realms of who is the better option for Manchester United right now, because every single manager that I've mentioned just there, at one point through one of the shows that we've done over the last few days, people have had an issue with that particular manager. People don't want Glasner because he's doing a 3-4-3 and it's what we're doing now and it's failing at Manchester United. People don't want Carrick simply because they want a permanent manager. They don't want another interim. Again, second interim period for Michael Carrick. And, of course, people don't want Xavi because they feel we haven't got the right players to play Xavi's system. Even though Xavi is studying the Premier League and probably what's going on at Manchester United, and then coming and feeling like he could adapt and change himself. Is he adaptable? Because he will be listening to everything that's going on and he will know everything, the opinion from the fans, what the media is saying. If you're studying the Premier League, you have to study everything. You have to study the media, you have to study the football, the intensity. Ruben was talking about this in this interview. I keep alluding to it. I've just done a big piece on it in Big Up just a moment before we came on, but we will talk about it again in a moment. So that, I think, is where everybody's at right now. It's the uncertainty of what's going to happen next because you just don't know enough about the managers coming in to Manchester United. We know where they've been before. We know what they've done before, but that has counted for absolutely nothing. Again, I've just seen this one come up right now. Literally, this has come in the last half an hour, this report. If Manchester United called Xavi, he would say yes immediately. No approach. As of today, Xavi would love to return to football as soon as possible. He is ready. Romano. So Romano is still banging the Xavi drum, and we are going to keep hearing this as this goes on and as this conversation continues over the manager. I don't know. I'm going here and there and every bleeding where all at the moment with this. There is no sign of this ever looking like it's going to work out for Ruben Amorim with the noises that's going on. Just to bring you up to date with what Samuel Luckhurst just said, Michael Carrick is among the caretaker options for Manchester United, and they could turn to him if they sack Ruben Amorim. So Carrick is not a long-term plan, no matter what. He will not be a Manchester United manager going into next season, for instance. He's only seen as a interim option for Manchester United. So are we compiling two lists here, Manchester United? The mainstays and the bigger options that look like it could be, in terms of the names that we've spoken about, Glasner, Iraola, Southgate, Xavi, Emery, managers like this. They're the list of permanent managers to take United forward. The interim managers, that's the concerning one, because there is a good piece as well talking about Manchester United being fully impressed with Darren Fletcher's work at the moment for the under-18s. Of course, flying right now, Darren Fletcher and Manchester United's under-18s, completely unbeaten and running with a 100% record through everyone in their path right now, including Manchester City, which is very nice indeed. But that, again, worries me. That Manchester United feel like he is already proving that his next step is into permanent management and first-team management. Whether it be at United, that hasn't been said. But they believe he is going to be good enough at Manchester United to manage first-team football one day. So that, again, you can take with what you want, really. I don't see that as United saying that he's going to come through and be an option. But interim options, you're looking, obviously, right there. For Manchester United, it's Carrick, it's Solskjaer. I don't know who else you could bring in there. There's a few options that you could go drastically at, like a Sam Allardyce or Sean Dyche type, but they're not interim manager type managers, I don't think either. I just think it is former players for Manchester United right now. If it's an interim, then we're looking at the likes of Ollie and potentially Michael Carrick. I think that's where they're at, Manchester United. And it's funny, isn't it? Again, though, I go back to what I said this morning. Xavi will move tomorrow. Glasner will go to United tomorrow. Bournemouth right now are trying to tie Iraola down to a new contract because they're scared about losing him. The power of Manchester United. By the way, news that's just come out, Manchester United, second most valuable football club on the planet now as well. That news breaking before with them record revenues coming in. How we do it, I do not know. How the hell are you the second richest club in the world and second most valuable club in the world? How can you have a brilliant under-18s, a brilliant under-21s, a fantastic women's team, be the richest or one of the richest and most powerful clubs in the world in terms of bringing players in still, and get this wrong? It makes absolutely zero sense, doesn't it? It does. And this is where we're at right now. Carrick, again, there's a lot of Man United fans that will look at that and just go, no thanks. It's just not good enough. It isn't good enough. And I can see where you're going with that. But if you can't get your number one, is that what they're thinking about? I think there's a little bit of panic in the air around Manchester United right now. And that, I think, is coming through in the journalists and the stories. Like Adam Crafton said, you're talking to people, multiple people within the club, and you're gauging where everything is at. That's what they're doing right now. And everything that's come out, there isn't one, apart from, of course, Chris Wheeler right now from the Daily Mail. We're going to move on to that next. But first of all, let's have a little talk about Michael Carrick and this potential. Because there's another piece from Pete Hall here, who's another Manchester United journalist, who says, if Manchester United's form doesn't pick up, there's a sense that Ineos may consider appointing an interim manager until the end of the season. Should AMORIM depart, Michael Carrick is seen as a possible option. I think they're scared of bringing another manager in with another big plan mid-season. I think they want an easy out right now, and they're not convinced at all by anyone out there. I think there is big concern for Manchester United fans that Ineos don't know what they're going to do past Ruben Amorim still. That's how I read the situation right now. That was from Pete Hall as well. So let's get into that. Manchester United insiders believe Ruben Amorim could choose to step down rather than wait to be dismissed. Two separate sources suggest there is a real possibility he may walk away before the club make a decision. I didn't get any of that at all from Ruben in the way he's been talking. But then again, he has alluded to it, hasn't he? He's threatened to walk away before, if the reports are right. And now we're hearing the same story yet again. Is that good enough? If he's willing to walk away, then he hasn't really got the minerals for it. He'd rather walk away than change his system. That just shouts out crazy to me, that. But anyway, let's get into the comments section on this now and get your thoughts, everybody. So pile in, please, everybody. Let's get talking. Paul Serza, welcome to the members club, my friend. I really appreciate that. But I got a few more super chats to get through. Everyone wanting to say tonight. Kevin, welcome to the members club also. And Kevin has dropped his first super chat in there as well. How do you feel about Zinedine Zidane being United's boss? It's the language barrier thing that gets me. Now, he would command respect straight away, but he's used to working with Galacticos. And to bring Zidane in, I don't know if that is going to work. I'm just being honest right now. Look, I would love a big name like Zidane, because who's going to stand up to him? If you're looking for people looking at credentials, if nobody listens to Zinedine Zidane, then they should not be playing football. I just think the language barrier might be. If he can learn English, then he wants to come to United, then let's put him on the list. But I just don't think he would. I don't think he would. We have just dropped in 5 memberships in there. You are very welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Members Club. If you've grabbed one of them 5 from Forever United TV, I'll go to our poll in a minute. I'll just finish up these super chats first of all. Hi, Ad, says Richard. I am not saying Amorim I'm not saying Amorim is the man, but this cycle of sacking managers is mental. There is some awful takes too. Carrick is not the man either. Sacked by Borough. We can't carry on. Rinse and repeat. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I did have a similar super chat earlier on this morning on this. Sacking managers isn't going to be the problem. It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to fix the ultimate problem, but what people are forgetting when they say things like this, and it's valid, it's a proper opinion there, and I get what you're saying, Richard, I really do, but what people who are saying this, I'm finding, is that they're forgetting that Manchester United are fighting relegation. Now, if we were 10th, 11th, can't sack the manager, it's just not right. We can't keep doing this. He's changing a few things. He's working with a few players in different systems and formations, trying to make it work. You're standing by him, you're giving him a little bit more time because he's shown adaptability and willing to change and willing to do it. But, no, sacking the managers is not ideal. There's no consistency there. But the one consistent thing that is there at Manchester United right now under Ruben Amorim is a persistence to play this system, which is taking Manchester United to the bottom of the table. And that's the difference this time. Sacking a manager when he's underperforming for what we all see as a Manchester United standard, which he's never been in Europe, is one thing. But looking at to move a manager on who is taking Manchester United down and down and down, and then the down as in relegation, that needs to be stopped. And if we keep on losing with him, and the record's there, look, you wouldn't be able to argue with a Solskjaer record, a Jose record, or even a Louis van Gaal record right now in getting rid of this manager. Your argument there, Richard, would be completely relevant, and you would probably win the debate. But right now we're talking about Man United fighting relegation. This cannot happen, and this is why Ruben has to go. He just clearly has not got what it takes to be a Manchester United manager. I would love for him to prove me wrong at this point and go on and absolutely destroy it for Manchester United. I really would. I've seen nothing in this team. And you know what? Just to bring up the actual Ruben comments before, Owen Hargreaves asked him, how do you plan for it? If you're not sure that the players are fully prepared, how do you plan, if you don't know? He says, and he said, in his words, he said that normally you would see things in training, you would pick up how intense they were, if they're picking up on the minor details or anything like that, and you go into the game, and that would be the norm going into any professional match. But with his team, his Manchester United team, he said, I just don't know what's going to happen. You cannot be at the top level as a manager saying things like that. This team, you don't know how they're going to play, means that you haven't got what you want out of them at training. It means that you have to change something just to survive, to give yourself that little bit of time. It's not what anybody wants, but we don't want to sack Ruben Amorim. We don't want to sack him. But he's sacking himself. Look, if you're not going to, then there's nothing this fan base can do to back you up. I heard someone say before, it was a great comment. I think it was Jay Motti said it, and he brought up someone else's tweet as well. And the tweet basically said, the people who are backing Ruben Amorim, it's more out of the sort of sympathy side of things. It's more like you're hoping that he's going to make something happen. You're going like what Richard said there. We can't keep sacking managers. You're just praying that it changes. And the people that are wanting to sack him or that are not backing him are using facts. It's facts against hope, basically, right now. That's the only argument you've got. Because if you use Ruben himself and what he's done as the argument, rather than the club can't keep sacking managers and the club can't keep doing this, it's not going to work. I get all of that. But if you just isolate Ruben himself, what he said, what he's done, how he sets the team up, how he is, how he acts, his demeanour and everything like that. If you use Ruben in the argument as to whether you sack the manager or not, there's no winner. There's a clear winner, and that is sacking him because he just looks like he's sinking. Look, again, I'll make this very clear. You don't have to be one or the other. You can look at Manchester United and go, I don't want to sack another manager, but I can see what's going on here and it's never going to last. You can be that way. You don't have to be an in or an out. People who say that are just looking for reactions and looking to try and have a go at people and judge you as a fan. You're a fan if you want him out. You're a fan if you don't want him. So if you want him to stay. It's as simple as that. It's just opinions. But one thing you cannot argue ever with is the facts. And he's the worst manager Manchester United have ever had. So that's where it sort of falls down. It's a long answer to that, I know. I do appreciate you sticking with me on that one there, everyone. But yeah, that is my response to that one. Cheers for that, Richard. Brits Abroad says, I don't agree with your Amorim out and the new temp manager agenda. We are doing what we have done before. We either get a manager who can take over now or stick with Ruben and tell him to change his style. Look, I've said if you cannot get the manager you want, you take a temporary manager because Ruben is sinking. Try and get something out of these players. I don't want to be relegated. Ruben's taking us down in this form. At the moment, I'm like, it's battle lines. We're in the trenches right now, and the charge is on. It's literally all hands to the pump right now for Manchester United to try and survive. That's it. People are not grasping the fact that Manchester United are where they are in the league. If you were up there and you was potentially, 9th, 10th or something like that, mid-table, this whole argument changes completely. And Richard's right, Brits Abroad is right as well. But at the moment, it's pure desperation from Manchester United, which is why I'm more concerned. I'm not saying one person's right and another's not here. I'm a really concerned Manchester United fan who feels like Ineos don't know what to do right now with Ruben Amorim because they believe in him so much. That's where I'm concerned. And I said this morning. I think Ineos has done a lot of good for this football club, and I'll still back that argument. But right now, I just don't think they thought this was going to happen. They did not foresee this being that bad at the football club. I get what you're saying as well. Brits, look, if you've got the right man there and you can bring him in, buddy, get him now. Go get Glasner. If he's top of your list and he wants to come, get him. If Xavi's top of your list and you want him, get him. Just don't get them because they're there. Is it what you want? Is it what Ineos and Manchester United want? There are pros and cons for every single man that we're talking about right now. And that, again, will be another completely different debate, won't it? And it'll just continue on. Ant with a super chat says, there's no perfect fit. Any choice would be a compromise, and we will be back here in 12 to 18 months. Ineos need to tell Amorim to tweak or leave. What do we all think to the news that Pete Hall came out with that Ruben might walk? Is there anyone here thinking that Ruben might walk? By the way, the poll that we have put up is give it to Carrick till the end of the season. 57% of you have said yes to Carrick till the end of the season. I didn't expect that. I thought this audience was actually majority saying go and get the right manager. But look, I'm not trying to convince people into thinking the same way that I do. I just look at it in depth. And at the moment, honestly, I am the most scared I've ever been as a Manchester United fan. I knew I was going to be scared if it didn't work out with Ruben because I didn't think that Ineos really expected this to go this bad. And I was worried that there wasn't a plan. And quite clearly there isn't a plan to bring somebody else in immediately. They weren't planning for this to happen. But if he loses against Sunderland, he's done. There is a story again going around. And we touched on this last night when we said that the story about the compensation isn't completely true. There's contrasting reports on this. Could be true, might not be true. There is a story going around that he has to have been there a year and his compensation drops dramatically after that. Let's not forget, he only got given a 2.5-year contract, Ruben Amorim. So that's there to remember also. But with Ruben right now, that year would be Sunderland. These are the games that he has to get through to get to that year. So if anyone else want to save themselves a few million quid, if this story is correct, that is, then he has to get through Sunderland. He has to get through Liverpool away, Brighton at home, Forest away, Tottenham away. That's the games that he has to get through. We haven't won an away game since Leicester last season. So let's look at the away games we've got there. Forest, Spurs, Liverpool, they all beat us in them corresponding fixtures last season as well. You're not confident there. So you're looking at and hoping for 2 home wins out of the home games because we've kind of held our own at home this season so far. And I'm not going to say that the home form has been horrendous for Manchester United because it hasn't. We were unlucky against Arsenal. We battered Burnley, should have won by more. And we got the win, 10 men, yes, but still got the win against Chelsea. Big game, big team. 3 points. So we're hoping to beat Sunderland, and then we're hoping to beat Brighton. We could possibly get a win against Sunderland at home. Got to be thinking that. But Brighton have won the last three visits to Old Trafford. Hurtzler's got our number, and I'm not confident we'll get that win. So we're looking at potentially 3 points going off the form table for United to sit through. How far will we be by them 5 games and Ruben's full year coming in? That, again, it's a massive concern of mine, because I'm not looking at the sentimental side anymore. This is why I'm not like I was last time. I'm not like keep the manager. I said I would always back Ruben Amorim, and I feel, backed him as much as I possibly can. But this is taking a different turn now. This is a whole new lease of life. This Ruben out and Ruben being sacked situation now. So looking at it realistically right now, Ruben Amorim, in them 5 games, we could possibly win 1 of them, and then he's sacked. United are handing this managerial role over to an interim or a permanent manager from relegation, from the bottom 3. That's how I look at it. And there's nothing that tells me, from what I've seen with Ruben Amorim, that's going to change. Ruben talks in this interview with Owen Hargreaves about he feels like it's going to change. He feels the results are going to change. The stats are telling us one thing. I said this before on Big Up, and I'll say it again now so everybody's clear. The stats are lying to you. They're lying to you completely. Brentford, for instance, what was it? 5 to 6 shots on target. I went through this before. The 4 shots on target in the first half all came from one man. A Benjamin Sesko P roller from 25 yards that went right into Kelleher's hands. And then Benjamin Sesko, 1 with a header, Kelleher saved. 2, a scrapey shot that Kelleher saved. And you remember the goal? It all happened in one instant. So the stat people are driving Man United hitting the target and creating chances. Benjamin Sesko needed 3 chances to score that 1 goal in that 5-second spell when he was hitting a few on goal. Persistence and no problem with Benjamin Sesko in doing so, but don't believe the stats. They are completely driving a different agenda. I'm not for it. I wasn't fully convinced when they all came out. Yes, it looks pretty. United are right up there. But again, here's some stats for you that are going to hurt even more. We concede more than we score. We've lost more than we win. We're in the bottom half of the table again. Ruben Amorim hasn't broke a plus goal difference in a year. We haven't won a league game away from home since last season, and that team now is in the Championship. They're the stats that matter right now for Manchester United. I'm not convinced when Ruben says it or when any other stato comes out and tells me the stats show us that we're actually progressing right now. I'm all for data analysis and work rates and things like this with players. I think it is important and a part of the game. But don't come to me and try and fill my head with crap that Man United are improving. Every time we concede the first game, we lose. Where's that stat? Where's that not being put up there? How come Manchester United can't win a game by more than 2 goals ever under Ruben Amorim, apart from Leicester away from home, or let's be honest, relegated? You could argue Southampton as well at home last season, relegated. And it took an Ahmad last 8-minute hat-trick to get that done as well. Oh yeah, by the way, we just scraped by Ipswich with our 10 men as well, also in that game. So you see where I'm going with this. I'm not seeing enough for any stat to convince me, and I'm not hearing enough from anybody that Ruben's safe right now, and the players are showing it themselves. For Ruben to come out in that interview and say that he doesn't know how his team are going to perform, like, we thought you needed time on the training ground, Ruben, and time to work with your team and make them a better team and understanding of what you want. It seems like every training session that goes by, the players get worse. And look, I don't want to bury the guy, but I'm not going to sit here and be throwing stats at and say that I'm just trying to drive a negative agenda in anything here. It's just not been good enough, and I'm worried. I'm really worried. Look, you can laugh at it all you want and say that it is a big sort of headline saying that United are going to be relegated, but tell me why we won't be under Ruben Amorim. Give me a reason why we won't under Ruben Amorim from what you've seen after a year. And then we'll have another conversation about it then. I guarantee I'll win it because there's nothing. Anyway, currently just seeing Real Madrid, like Kylian Mbappe. Yeah. All right. When it comes to it, it's in terms of Ruben Amorim and what he actually said about it, it's the unknown, basically. He doesn't know how his players are going to adapt. He always looks for the minor details, if they're paying full attention, if they're fully concentrated, how aggressive they are in set pieces and things like this. And it goes on to, it's like you normally go onto the pitch feeling fully confident about everything that you've done in training actually coming out on that pitch. But with his Man United side at the moment, he just doesn't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, that's pretty much what Ruben was saying before. The interview, again, massively ill-timed, and I'm fully guessing that Ruben Amorim really didn't need that at this time. He didn't. It's going through the other news as well, just keeping you up to date with everything as it comes through. There is stories. Harry Maguire looking after the likes of Shea Lacey and helping him out in adjusting into the first team. Harry Maguire has taken it upon himself to help Shea Lacey settle into the senior group and act as a sounding board. It is understood other first-team stars have been impressed by Lacey's technical level, which will not come as a surprise to anyone who has watched the youngster run riot against opponents at academy level. He is going to be a star. I just hope that we've got our ship in order in the first team before he actually starts coming through. It'd be really unfair for some academy players to come through now and have to deal with this crap that Manchester United are putting out on the pitch. It's just not on. It's not right for them, and I don't think is any kind of progression whatsoever for them. It really isn't. Also wanted to talk about what Chris Wheeler also said about Kobbie Mainoo as well. So going, and this is what they started with. So at the top of Chris's and Nate Salt's report, it was Ruben Amorim still has the backing, and people at Manchester United feel like he can still turn this around. Okay, I don't know where you're getting that from. And then straight after that, which is like the safety blanket side of things, they went with Kobbie Mainoo and his preferred destination. So that, I think, again, Kobbie Mainoo's preferred destination would have been Napoli if Manchester United had allowed a transfer with interest in joining ex-teammates Scott McTominay, Rasmus Højlund, together with Manchester City icon Kevin De Bruyne. That's what the Daily Mail is saying. It was Kobbie Mainoo's. I don't know. Look, at this point, I really don't care about speculation or anything like that, but honestly, I could see Kobbie Mainoo probably wanting to move abroad because he didn't want to play against Manchester United. That's the kind of lad that he is. But again, just shows you, doesn't it? More academy players at Manchester United wanting out of the football club. And that's the point I wanted to make about Shea Lacey right now. I actually don't want him in the side yet. Not until everything's settled. It's just not fair at the end of the day for youngsters to come in and be put under this amount of pressure by Manchester United at senior level. Like the saviour. We've been doing this to players all of the time. Look where we're at now. Look at Garnacho. Look at Rashford. Look at what happened with Mason Greenwood. Look where Scott McTominay is doing his football now. Look where Mainoo wants to leave. For God's sake, like Manchester United's first team is literally tearing the club apart piece by piece right now. It is an absolute basket case of a football team and a squad. And I've not seen one person, one pundit, anyone talking about it, come up with a relatively sensible way out of this or explanation as to how this could actually change. Everybody's saying exactly the same thing. There is something fundamentally wrong with Manchester United, and that's all you'll get. But nobody's going to be able to tell you exactly what that is. You're just hoping at the moment, and again, it's pure hope, that someone else can come in and get more out of these players, and then we could maybe get rid of another big batch of players in the summer. That's it. Right, let's get some more comments on this. Andreas says, please, no temporary coach. Get the best coach in the world and tell them now or never, or wait till point difference of Manchester United and fourth is 14. Is 14. Is that in keeping Amorim there, Andreas? I'm guessing there. until it's impossible or something like that. Oh God, I don't think I could survive, mate. I really don't. I think like what Wayne Rooney said, like the ownership at Manchester United needs to come out and make a decision and make it clear to everybody what they're going to do. J-Lo with a super chat as well says his ability to adapt and unwillingness to adapt allows other managers not as capable of players beat us. I think it's going to be like this the rest of the season. If Ruben stays, yeah, there is a way out of this easily. Ruben changes. But in the interview, he actually said, it takes time, we will change and evolve, but that's going to take time. He also said when he first came in that you need to win games to earn time to change things at the football club. And he's kind of gone past that now. Manchester United are in a position where we need results. Ruben needs results and needs results now. Billy says, I've supported this club for 43 years, and to be honest, I've never thought I'd say this. I'm done with them. Not good for your mental health, Adam. Billy's out. He's given up on them. No, it feels that way, doesn't it, mate? Because you're not getting anything back from the players. You're not seeing any progression or anyone who actually... And as a fan, they're never going to be as passionate as you are. We know that, but you expect a certain level of passion, professionalism to be there with these players. So again, I get where you're at, Billy. David says Amorim is so webbed to his system. When he brought Kobe on, he took Agate off. Kobe needs to play in a double pivot to succeed. He'll look a different player in that setup, but Ruben doesn't get it. Ruben also put Mason Mount on the left wing back, and that's what Gary Neville was picking up at after that game. 4-2-3-1 is what should be played. Maz, Yoro, Dalit, Dogu, Cass and Agate, Cunha and Bumo, Mount and Sesko. A solid base defensively, Flair up top, and no Olga players. Either we win games with that. We will win games with that side easy. Oh, I don't know about easy, but I think, yeah, you might get a little bit more stability, mate. I'm never going to say easy with this squad of players. No way, not yet anyway, mate. Goldstone says, hoping the big match of the night, Barnet versus Brighton under-21s is on YouTube. Otherwise, it's Leicester Wrexham. I'm not watching any Champions League then, mate. We'll be covering the Championship as well tonight in all of the results. So a full-on Champions League and Championship night tonight on Football Talks straight after this show, everybody. So make sure that you do come across and join us there for that when we finish here. Andreas, again, Super Chat legend, mate. Thank you very much. He says, problem is I don't trust temporary managers. Carrick in is crazy. They're reporting it. I just thought this is what might happen. And you know what? I can see with Ineos what's going on right now. So, again, this shows to me that they weren't prepared. That's what this does. They weren't prepared. And we are now paying the penalty big time at Manchester United. That's what's happening right now. Let's get some more comments in. Kieran says, why does any coach/manager have to coach a better millionaire footballers? The basics. Who teaches them that? ? And they can't think about a different system of formation. Millionaire footballers. Yeah. Exactly that. That's what we were saying straight away. Why can these players not grasp what's being asked of them if they're professionals? It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous to think that Manchester United players cannot adapt to a different formation or a different system. But look, maybe these players are just not that good. Like Dalot was clearly shown he's not good enough for the Premier League. He needs to get off to Portugal or Spain somewhere, Dalot. He's never going to make it in the Premier League. Thank you, everybody who is joining us across over on the watch along tonight. Make sure you do come across there. We have to just shut that poll up. We're going to be covering all of the Champions League stuff as well tonight as the Championship, like we just said. I'm not convinced on Wilcox or Berardo, though. They don't come across the sharpest tools in the box. They are right? They really are. They are good at what they do. But again, I just feel right now that they just did not expect this to fall off as drastically as it has done. This, I think, is humiliation right now for them. Their reputations are also on the line here with this, and that's what you've got to think about. They want it to work, and this is why we're not getting much movement at the moment, I don't think, in terms of making a decision on Ruben Amorim. So, yeah, just my thoughts on that anyway. But make sure that you do keep popping your comments in, and make sure that if you are playing catch-up later, that you get into the comment section. I'll read through a few of them myself as we're going through the watch-alongs tonight. Really interesting to see where people are at with Michael Carrick. There was quite a few of you earlier on in the previous poll which said you would take Carrick right now. I think it's out of just having something different in there. That's where we're at. Hi Adam, I heard that Ineos will wait until November 1st when if they sack Amorim, money will not be 12 million, a bit less. I did mention that earlier on, mate. Yes, there is a story going around, and I did say the games that Manchester United would be throwing away, which I think they would be, were Sunderland this weekend at home, Liverpool away, Brighton home, Forest away, Tottenham away. I see us on current form taking 3 points from that, and if that is the case, Man United will be handing the reins over to another manager, whether it be temporary or permanent, in the relegation zone. Survival, like I said. There's nothing that shouts out United winning any of them games for definite. If you're going anywhere, you're edging towards losing every one of them games right now. The only thing I've got hope for is Sunderland at home, because we've got a little bit of steeliness about us at home at the moment. That's it. But that's still not going to bring Ruben his 2 games in a row. It's still not going to bring him back-to-back wins, and it's still not going to move him anywhere near the top half of the table, because we will lose to Liverpool. There's one down. We know this, unless a miracle happens. Brighton at home, again, that's that game that we always seem to lose. Forest away, Postecoglou, he's got our number 4 times last season. And Spurs themselves, again, 4 times last season. So whichever way you look at it, it's not looking very good for Manchester United. And this is why people are probably on Ineos' back right now. You're willing to throw away 5 games for the sake of what? What was it working out at? Maybe 8 million quid or something like that? Some reports have said. Look, none of them reports are a definite, and we can't verify or put a 100% certainty on them numbers, or even the report itself, because there is some people saying that isn't true. But them 5 games really do scare me in terms of where United are going to be leaving the next manager, if that is when Ruben goes. Like Cal said just a minute ago in the chat, if Ruben switches to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-1-3, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-5-1, anything like that, just 4 at the back and a stable midfield, then you're looking, Mbappe gets an hat-trick, you're looking at a different Manchester United side, and all of a sudden, bang, there you go. United are back on track again. Well, we're a bit more competitive anyway. Right, going forward, watch-alongs next, football talks, everybody. Get your comments in below. Thank you so much to all the mods and everybody in the chat. Again, thank you to all the super chats. Great stream again, everybody. And to everyone who was with us earlier on Big Up also. Fantastic. I love you all. I'll see you all over on Football Talks in just a moment. It's Champions League night. We will continue this chat as well, of course, and everything else that's going on in football. We'll keep afloat of all of the news going on. I'll see you all over there in just a moment's time. Cheers, everybody.